Greetings and salutations, folks. Welcome back to our E3 coverage. My name's Nick. This is the Tin Man. We're here to talk to you about Microsoft's conference for their E3 2019. Which I think was probably the biggest, well, definitely the biggest in the amount of things they showed, even though they didn't really show that much of their own, their own brand.
That's true. They have way less first-party titles in their catalog, but they're looking to change that because they've bought Double Fine, which they probably should have done in like 2005, for how much money and time they've put into making another Psychonauts game happen.
Yeah, although it kind of makes me wonder what's going to be the Double Fine's future from here on out.
Yeah.
Because they've, Double Fine has kind of been spending their time making a lot of small games.
Which I like.
But not every small game gets that much attention, or at least the attention they deserve. Like, I want to say Costume Quest 1 got a lot of attention.
I like
but Costume Quest 2, not necessarily as much.
No.
There have been plenty of Double Fine games. Like, there's one where you're like fighting waves of bad guys in a tank, but like did it quite reach that same audience? Did it really have that same Double Fine quality that you would expect from a game like Psychonauts or Psychonauts 2, which actually looks really well done?
They need to just give us that game because they've taken a decade. God, when did I play that game? That was probably 2006 or 7. It's a very old game, and it was amazing. Quite an experience.
I still need to play that.
I adore that game. That's probably one of my top 20 favorite games of all time.
Although I probably should play that game, only due to its sense of humor.
Yeah.
Especially consider the fact that one of the bosses in that game is a movie critic.
That's true. That's an amazing.
And apparently he shouts at you quotes from I forget the name of the movie, but he shouts at you quotes from an actual movie review. And throughout the fight scene.
Like word balloons stabbing you and impaling you. It's pretty cool.
There are plenty of other things going on at Microsoft's, and I feel that there's going to be a lot of crossover with the fictional Sony conference that never happened.
Right.
Like, if there was a Sony conference, they probably would have also covered. It would have
looked pretty similar.
You would have also seen the Outer Worlds.
Yeah.
From
so Microsoft kind of did Sony's job for them here a little bit.
A little bit.
Yeah, because since they were mostly maybe they were counting on that. Like, we can just show our own stuff ahead of the show, and then you guys can show third-party stuff. It's going to be everywhere.
But here's the thing. Assuming the Microsoft show would have happened, let's say the Microsoft show would have happened after the Sony show, that means they would have had only half of their trailers would have had the phrase "World Premiere."
That's the best part. That's the reason I watch. Okay, but we did get some good world premieres. We finally saw some actual, good gameplay from Cyberpunk 2077, which looks.
Do we see gameplay, or see a lot of
maybe that was
really
just
good
more
story?
Really good story trailer
It
stuff.
It was a really good story trailer.
Yeah. Plus the icing on the cake.
The national treasure.
That newly adopted national treasure. I mean, he always kind of was, but now it's just confirmed. Like the sheer meme quality of the breathtaking Keanu Reeves.
Keanu Reeves is breathtaking.
I think this sets a new precedent, though, in terms of the merger of film and celebrity into video games. I mean, it's always sort of existed, but now it's a for sure thing. Between John Bernthal being in, what was that, Ghost Recon?
Ghost Recon, yeah.
And then...
Breakpoint.
Yeah. Just there, and then Norman Reedus and Death Stranding. I mean, this is AAA talent. This is not some obscure... I saw, Sean Ashmore is in, a new game, too, and...
By the way, not just Norman Reedus, but he has Guillermo del Toro.
That whole cast is
Mads
AAA.
Mikkelsen.
Yeah.
He has the director of Driver,
Nicholas Winding Refn.
There.
I think he's trying to backdoor slide his way into Hollywood by bringing, Guillermo. I love Guillermo. I've been on such a Guillermo kick lately too, but
it's not a bad kick to be on.
Yeah, you want to work with those guys because I think Kojima has really always been the guy pushing the medium forward. Even from like Twin Snakes, that was a very cinematic. His like the GameCube. He's always thought about film, and I think this is the thing that's going to put it over the top. I really hope it sells, but.
Although I feel like with Keanu's presentation, though, like you look at John Bernthal and you can, like, there's even shots where it kind of shows you the screen he was reading from.
Yeah.
It feels as though Keanu Reeves wasn't reading from a script.
He is the father of cyberpunk. I mean, from Johnny Mnemonic to, I mean,
The
he's
Matrix,
like almost
he's
a religious figure at this point, you know, and for the cyber age, and I think it's very fitting, and I hope he plays a large part in the game and not a small one.
That is true. Although here's the thing: if Cyberpunk is even half the size of The Witcher, like, what are you expecting him to do? Like, spend like 5 hours on? If he spends 5 hours on screen, that is still going to be like 10% of the game.
Yeah. I don't know. I think it'd just be cool to do a few missions with the guy, or
Yeah.
because it seems like that's a fairly early point in the game that they're showing us, because the game is still a ways away.
Yeah, we don't want to see a situation in which, like in Mass Effect, you see Saren at the beginning of the game,
right?
You see Saren at the end of the game,
and never in between.
There's like one scene in between.
Yeah,
and that's pretty much it.
Right. Which could happen, but
we would like to avoid that. Because it does seem like they're working together, your character and him.
Yeah, like almost a mentor type figure.
We skipped over a little bit of it. The Outer Worlds.
Yes.
I think you commented that's like a Mass Effect.
It looks just like what I wanted Mass Effect Andromeda to be, basically, with like many worlds and. Yeah, it just looks really good. I think Obsidian's just got a really good pedigree in terms of...
I agree completely. That's what I wanted out of Mass Effect Andromeda. Yeah. I wanted it to be really good.
Pretty much, yeah.
And it wasn't.
No.
I get the impression of more towards Fallout than I do towards Mass Effect.
Yeah, I think
just
in terms of gameplay structure.
Scope.
Right, okay. But in kind of like more of a Mass Effect-y type world and sci-fi situation, but definitely Mass Effect gameplay structure and viewpoint and controls probably. But yeah. Looks good. I'm on board.
Looks fantastic. Well, especially with Obsidian making it, you know that the writing is also going to be out there.
Yeah. Good writing is so cheap. Take it from two writers. Good writing is so cheap, yet so hard to come by in films these days, especially in video games. Like
I feel
a writer. We're really very cheap and it goes a long way. A little bit goes a long way.
I forget the name of the writer. He wrote this short story.
George R.R. Martin.
Close. He wrote the short story "I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream."
Harlan Ellison.
He has a huge interview where he's just going pay the writer.
I think we always agree on that one, but yeah.
But I feel like a lot of things these days for movies especially, the actors are actually really good.
Yeah,
I think the actors these days are generally better than they used to be.
The craft is very refined.
The production value is really good.
Agree.
What the directing of the actors generally done pretty well.
Yeah, the formula we are in the golden age of TV. The formula has been broken down. They know how to bring things full circle. They know what the beginning, middle, and end usually looks like, and yet somehow huge expectations fall short. Game of Thrones. Like, why can we not stick the landing? Why is it so difficult? When any fanboy worth his salt can write a better fanfic.
Well, you see, what happened was the writers were writing. They had this hugely complex thing, and then they spilled some ink on episode 15.
Yeah.
And they're like, "We're not rewriting that.
We'll do it live. We'll
improv the whole thing." I'm pretty sure if you got an improv crew together, they would have improved it better.
That's probably true.
But gotta move along to the bleeding edge of video game technology from Ninja Theory, a game that everybody wanted.
I don't know, man. I feel like in an age of your Borderlands, your Overwatch, people do want competitive / co-op-y, fun punk color palette aesthetics, and they want to slash dudes
At the very least, the art style is really cool.
Yeah, it's a compelling art style. But that's not everything. It's like Battleborn, a really cool character design, really cool mechanics. But
Paladins,
will it sell?
Paragon wasn't there a game called Paragon?
Yeah, but it doesn't necessarily mean the game will sell. That's my concern.
What was the game from Cliffy B? That was
Gears of War?
Not Gears of War. He made like an Overwatch
Kakuto Chojin?
He made two.
You're right.
One that was on cell phones for like 2 days.
Yeah.
Before crashing and burning.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's definitely kind of a big market that they're just kind of like jumping into, hoping for the best.
Everyone wants a piece of the pie. It's kind of like Apex Legends, you know.
But what I think, if a new game like that, like a team-based multiplayer game, the thing that could really make it kind of stand out is if it had a story mode. Like Overwatch.
Tell me about the world.
Has these great characters.
Yeah.
But you don't really do much with them as a story.
That is a concern. Yeah, I think, remember the old Shadowrun game that came out for Xbox 360?
Yeah.
It was like great mechanics, but there was no story mode. Or what was the other game that came out and it was like a parkour first-person shooter?
Oh, Brink.
Brink. Great looking game, great mechanics. All it needed was like a little story icing and it would have been incredible. But that thing was destined for the bargain bins at like $10 a pop.
Or at the very least, the ability to play it.
Right, without
years later.
not online or just killing the servers. But those are great games. It's just an example of my fears for this game that looks so interesting and deserves an audience, but probably won't find it.
Although, like back in the idea of what we were talking about earlier, is the style good enough to draw in?
Right. Can art alone make up for a lack of community building or gameplay mechanics or longevity? Like, it's an honest question for the age. Also, aesthetics go a long way, but they're not everything.
Luckily for Ori and the Will of the Wisps,
proven commodity.
It has art, gameplay,
proven
and
yeah.
Like unfortunately, I still need to play Ori and the Blind Forest. I still haven't finished that game. But Ori and the Will of the Wisps looks amazing still.
Yeah, I mean, speaking of good art fused with good style, Battletoads is back. Awesome.
Good art?
I thought it looked really cool and really fun.
Here's the thing, like, looking at the art from Battletoads, immediately after looking at the art from Spiritfarer...
Okay, Spiritfarer, that's not fair. Spiritfarer is like, stole deviant art and threw it into a game. That is a beautiful game. Battletoads looks like a dumb, fun brawler, you know?
Yes.
It's like, just something I want to sit on the couch with and just beat up chase some hot emperor chicks and like crash my motorcycle into a lava pit about 500 times before I throw my control against the wall. There better not be any motorcycle race hover bikes.
Oh, it's in it there, and it's in the trailer.
Nick, you gotta be take it out. I don't want it.
It'll only give you nightmares.
Pork shank is in it. They got pork shank, so
they got the important part.
Yeah.
Then we got RPG Time: The Legend of Right.
That looks really interesting. Looks like a Michel Gondry film, like paper and cardboard and dials and string. It looks so interesting.
It looks like a game that was manufactured out of some small child's notebook.
Yeah, like my childhood sketchbooks on like lined paper. But that's awesome.
Again, it's kind of hard. It's kind of hard to tell what you're going to be doing. Like it feels like you're doing a lot of different things.
Yeah.
And whether there's something cohesive, kind of keeping that all together. Almost like I could almost imagine it being similar to Lego Movie.
Okay.
Yeah, there we go, Lego Movie. In which you have that story about the Legos themselves, but then you've also got this meta story about the Lego builders, the actual people in the real life.
I would be okay with that.
So you have like The Legend of Right. Is it about just the notebook art? Or is it also about the person who's drawing the notebook art?
That's really cool. I like the idea of putting some of yourself in the game. Kind of like Scribblenauts. Like you could solve puzzles by writing in your own solutions or something, right? Like that's a pretty interesting concept.
Oh yeah.
What else? We got, of course, Gears 5 and Funko Pop Gears. Why is this necessary?
Well, Funko Pop Gears they announced last year, except now they actually have a game attached to it.
Right.
Gears 5, they didn't really have much to show. What they did was
Cool new
weird.
modes. New modes.
But I mean, like, the single-player part of the
Right.
story, like the zoomed-in image of the main character's face as she's being haunted by all of her family and friends.
Yeah.
I don't, like, I'm not saying that a Gears of War story can't be deep. I'm just wondering how much of this is going to come across.
Gears 1 through 3 I liked a lot. Judgment, I felt went off the rails a little bit.
Yep.
Didn't play much of 4, don't really care.
I actually
about being
played through
pro-tag,
4.
but
It was fine.
I still love the world. I think it's still, mechanics are solid, and it's a very enjoyable cover shooter.
Where's my wife?
Yeah, it's a lot of that. Dumb. It's the bromance. You play it for the bromance and the chainsawing of scrubs, but good multiplayer mode. I hope they bring, like, looks like they're bringing, like, what's the new mode? It's like a 3v3, like, battle mode. Like, Horde mode was awesome back in the day. If it's anything like that. It's called, like, escape mode or something, right? Like, it's an escape situation?
Escape mode. 3-player co-op with customizable hives.
That's awesome. Like, sign me up for some of that. That's
and
really cool.
this is one of the 2 games that is going to feature the Terminator in it. Like, they're
gonna
just
make you pay extra for that thing. Okay.
They're just throwing the Terminator license out everywhere.
Right.
Hoping for it to get some cash.
I've seen a little bit of that. It's good product placement, but
Though
no one's gonna go see that movie.
Oh, it looks awful.
Yeah, it looks so bad.
Though I would argue the best product placement is Forza 4's Lego Speed
that
Champions.
Looks awesome. I want to play it.
I like having.
I know you're a big Forza guy, so
Forza's really like. Here's the
Yeah.
thing: I don't really play much racing games, but Forza's gameplay is really well done. And actually, I tend to lean towards the Horizon side of things.
Sure.
I'm not big into the motorsport thing because I'm not really big into cars.
Right, you're not a gearhead, tuner head. You
I'm
just
not a
like to
gearhead.
enjoy the experience.
I played through all of Forza Horizon 3, and just like there were a few nights in which I would just drive around and complete out the roads
Sure.
that are on the map, because driving around in that game is a lot of fun.
Yeah, you're a purist.
And combine the really good gameplay with driving through Lego towns.
That sounds like a good time to me. Well, I'm there for it. Isn't it like a free DLC or something too? Like
That I don't know whether it's free or not, but it definitely seems worth jumping into.
Yeah.
They also now have, well, I don't know if it's free DLC or paid for, but State of Decay is finally getting a story mode.
As it always should have had.
As it always should have, but have you ever played any of that?
Yeah, I played the first one a lot, actually.
But there doesn't really seem to be much of
It's
a
very
point
bare
to
bones.
it.
It's just do one mission, recruit more people.
You get your house, you move on.
Yeah.
So actually having characters to follow makes it seem more meaningful.
I would agree. I think it's a cool world. It's kind of the zombie game that you want. It's the Walking Dead game. It's, not totally character-centric like the Telltale games. It's more of an your open world experience. What was that game, Dead Rush, that never came out? There was a zombie game where you, like, drive around, armor your car, and it's like, this was an old Xbox game, and it never came out because it was too awesome. There's a lot of this here going on. This is going to be a theme of this show.
Did you know there was a game based on the movie World War Z?
Awesome.
It just came out like a month or so ago.
A little late.
A little late.
I mean, I love that book, but and the movie wasn't bad, but a little late. Zombie
a
thing's
little
kind
bit
of
late.
over and done. I mean, they just killed Rick Grimes.
They
and
took their
Walking Dead.
time.
Like,
But what will be free to play
yes.
is Phantasy Star Online 2.
Awesome. I used to play that on Dreamcast back in the day. Oh my god. So many hours of my life wasted.
Probably
on the GameCube
too
and Dreamcast.
many.
Yeah.
Considering the gameplay.
Exactly. It's so bad. It's such a basic, grindy game, but beautiful nonetheless.
And this is actually a game that people have been waiting for, so it's kind of interesting to
Right.
see that Microsoft is the one who's
Bringing
kind
it
of
out.
bringing it over. And then they're also bringing over Crossfire, which
Crossfire!
that's the only thing I think about when I think.
I love Ace Combat, and I have several flight sticks. I love flight combat games, so sign me up for if that's what it is.
But
At all.
whatever it is, at the very least, I'm up for Remedy's single-player campaign attached to it.
Oh god.
I
I want to know more about that.
That definitely, especially since they didn't really announce it at E3, which would
Yeah.
have probably been a good place to drop it.
if not then when? They don't have like they don't have Rockstar's marketing machine behind them, or any publisher really. They're pretty much on their own out there. Will Control sell any copies, or will it be doomed to be like Quantum Break and sell nothing and wallow in obscurity?
They sold one copy, gosh darn it.
I bought one.
I bought that one copy.
I like that game.
Oh, yeah. I actually really liked it.
I'm just very concerned about Control.
Yes. We'll have to support it.
Yes.
But will you support Borderlands 3 on the Epic Store?
Obviously. That's a day one purchase. Honestly, I love Borderlands.
But maybe not on the Epic Store. Maybe on...
Not on the Epic Store.
Because you don't have a PC. You gotta...
Yeah, I'm going to buy it for my... Probably I'll buy a copy for my Xbox and my PlayStation, just because I will end up playing, just like Red Dead. I'll play it with
because
both
you have different groups of friends.
Yeah, I got my my cosplay friends, and I got my cousins, and I got to play with both, or someone's gonna get mad at me. So.
And the thing with Borderlands 3 is you can actually jump into other people's games, regardless of your level.
That's the best thing about it.
And still have a good time.
Yeah.
Like, that's been always the problem with a lot of those levels.
And it's free this month on PlayStation, so go download the Handsome Collection, Borderlands 2, and the pre-sequel. It's awesome.
I actually just finished Borderlands 2, like, for the first time.
Did you do all the DLC? Did you do Tiny Tina's Dungeon?
No,
oh my god, it's the best ever. You need to do it.
Okay,
I'll play with you. Let's make this happen. Blair Witch. This was the most shocking of announcements, and I honestly thought it was Alan Wake when I first saw like the trailer with like a flashlight and a dog, and
I thought it was Outlast.
I thought that for a second too, but then I'm like, this has got to be like a first-person Alan Wake,
because like he brings out the video camera.
Yeah, I thought that too. I get what you mean. I did when then they said it was Blair Witch. I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. I guess it just proves that anything that's a proven IP, they'll strap a name on that sucker and make a product.
Something that's recognizable.
Honestly, I went and saw the Blair Witch that came out in theaters like a year or two ago.
How was
it? It was good.
Okay.
So
well, these last few years have been really good on horror, though.
Yeah, I agree. We're in a strong horror season, and there's not many good horror games. Like, what was the one that came out recently that was like a big hit? It's like an asymmetrical versus Jason.
Dead by Daylight. There was a Friday the 13th
That's
game.
what I'm talking about. But yeah, that's awesome. I want more of that type of stuff. So that's very cool.
We could talk about 12 minutes. One of two games that involve death loops.
Right. What was the other one?
The other one was Deathloop.
Deathloop. Okay.
That seems to be
what you did there.
seems to be a theme here.
A theme. Okay.
Way to the Woods. The Last of Us, awesome. But as a deer.
Right. It's like a mother deer. It's like Bambi the game, but you're like robbing vending machines and breaking into malls. That looks so cool. I'm a sucker for deers and animals, so sign me up for some of that. But yeah, there was a lot of independent games that they like briefly showed.
There was a lot, and they do their indie showcase.
Yeah.
Although I didn't really spend too much time writing down all of the games they showed there, because like, how can you really comment on like 3 seconds?
Dead Static Drive, Pathologic 2, Star Renegades, The Good Life, Totally Accurate Battle Simulator, Creature in the Well, Killer Queen Black, awesome, Chicago developed arcade game, Riverbound, Unto the End, Blazing Chrome, Felix the Reaper, Undermine, Supermarket Shriek, Secret Neighbor, Eichenfell, Lord of the Rings, Living Card Game, Totem Tower, Crosscode. There were a lot, suffice to say, and a lot of them looked really cool.
But probably the ones I'd be interested in are After Party.
After Party looks amazing.
From the developers of Oxenfree.
Right, that looks so cool.
Looks fantastic. And The Good Life.
That looked really good
is actually, I believe, a Kickstarted game from Swery, the maker of Deadly Premonition.
Right.
So it's definitely going to be odd.
Dead Static Drive looked really cool, too. It looked like a lot of, like, 80s vaporwave aesthetics and, like, cool graphical styles in here. More simplistic, but, it works in this situation.
Speaking of loops, do you think there's anything to say about Halo?
I'm glad it's happening. We would be remiss to not mention that, they talked about the new console.
Correct, Project Scarlet. And like, there's a lot of talk about it being like 4 times the processing power.
They're gonna throw.
But it's had a solid state hard drive for great loading time.
Yeah, no.
But I feel like that's something they didn't manage to do, is try to actually show us what is it doing that it didn't do before.
Yeah. I don't know. I think they're wise to drop Halo Infinity day and date with the new console. It's going to be just like the original massive Xbox with Halo 1, hopefully, and I'm stoked that they're returning to form. The Halo trailer was really good. It looked like it had a bit of a horror vibe, which the original game kind of had a lot with the flood.
Yeah.
That spooky flood level. I like that. I love Master Chief. I have a whole set of Master Chief armor that I wear. I'm a big Halo fan, suffice to say. I still play it like weekly, and I am very excited about it. It will sell me a console. I will buy this game. I just think it's a year and a half away. So
nothing to really worry about at the moment.
Yeah.
Although it is pretty smart for them to be like, it was smart for Nintendo to open the Switch with Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. It is smart for Microsoft to open their
system
with your
big gun,
with Halo.
Remind everyone how much they love you, and then everything's gravy from there on out.
And then lastly, then there's the Elden Ring.
Ooh, I'm intrigued. Graphics looked really cool. World looked interesting. George R. R. Martin's writing. I mean, it's from software, right? So
it was a very brief trailer, but it's kind of like it's interesting to see what kind of new direction they've gone in. Do you think this kind of with what they're showing, it kind of feels like some of the characters have replaced multiple parts of their body? Like multiple characters seem to have removed limbs,
right? Like
and attached.
Armor, but it's so. Is it steampunk? Is it like medieval, like diesel punk?
Would you say that's like an extension of Sekiro, where the main character's arm has been removed and he replaces it with a mechanical arm?
Awesome, if so.
Either way,
sign me up for some of that. Yeah.
We'll have to find out probably next year because it's probably going to be a little while before we find out any news about Elden Ring.
Yeah.
In the meantime, stick around the channel. Next time we'll talk about Bethesda's conference.